Hi, I'm Simon Thurlow, CEO of Parallo. We're a Microsoft partner in Australia and New Zealand, specialising in the ISV sector.
My name's Tuvia Vailua. I'm the GM of Sales for rhipe Australasia.
Yeah, I recall, I think our first meeting was in a little coffee shop on Fort Street, where our old office used to be.
During business hours.
Indeed. And I can remember this guy whose name I couldn't pronounce wanting to talk to me about ISV, and I'm thinking, why is he going to talk ISV to me? No one gets ISVs, really.
I think my first memory of meeting with Simon was the fact that it was good to meet someone who sort of had the same barber as myself. After I joined rhipe, I realized that there were a whole number of partner types that we weren't necessarily addressing. And one of the big ones was really around that ISV, or the independent solution vendor, software vendor part of the market. And so I started hunting around to see which partner was doing the most work or doing the most impactful, meaningful work with the ISV channel, and Parallo's name kept coming up over and over again.
Yeah, I think it was having a shared mission, really, to increase the prosperity of New Zealand by enabling these ISVs to accelerate.
It has always been about ISVs, and it continues to be about ISVs when you're dealing with Parallo.
What will remain when all of this fluid sort of IT infrastructure stuff keeps changing? We've seen this adoption of virtualization and the adoption of cloud, and who knows what's next. So it became pretty obvious to us that the thing that would persist would be applications, or a form of getting information to people. So we decided to focus on that. ISVs, by their absolute nature, are trying to sell more licensing every month, so they're growing. And there is opportunity weekly from Microsoft on the Azure public cloud to bring innovative new features to them to reduce their cost of sale or improve security performance. You have this ongoing value-adding conversation with your customers. Rhipe and Parallo help these organisations accelerate. You can measure it. It's really tangible. So it's a very satisfying market segment to be in.
This whole ISV motion and dealing with ISVs suddenly starts to take a lot of shape, because the real competitive advantage for a lot of businesses today will be around the work that they do around software, the work that they do around creating that specific solution that will help differentiate them from their competitors. So in essence, all companies will in effect become ISVs of some nature. And so the realization that technology will become that single vertical that people will look towards to try and advance themselves through whatever industry that they're in. So therefore they would have to have some sort of development cycle within their organization.
Rather than just doing bespoke things for customers, which is really hard to duplicate and means it's quite expensive for the customer, we've always focused on productizing what we do and make it repeatable. And so the ISV services, to your point, we actually spent about 2 years with our first ever customer for that service, working out what was valuable for a SaaS company from a managed service. And so we've invested a significant amount in productizing that service, which I think why it's it seems to have such a significant take-up. It's really meeting the needs of those customers. Having an in-market presence with the people that we are going to for the Microsoft licensing side of it. So it's not an insignificant amount of work to navigate that. I'm not saying that it's no worse than any other large-scale sort of licensing provider, but having people on the ground in country who can solve our licensing questions, and especially optimisation for our customers, that was super valuable. Having an organisation that we had a commercial relationship locally, that was also very valuable, and especially with it being an Australasian business, so HQ is in our backyard. That was fabulous. And then a bit deeper and wider, an interesting dynamic of all of our ISV customers, except for maybe one, is that their markets are not local. Their markets are global. So yes, they're a New Zealand company, but they're looking way over the fence for where their customers are. And so it made sense to partner with an organisation that had a growth mindset and was already present in 18 countries throughout APAC, with perhaps further territories being planned. So that benefit to our customers is having this in-country, on-the-ground presence for, if there is an issue or we need some assistance or guidance, we can go through rhipe and get that. So it's quite a valuable partnership for us. So I think in terms of what's in it for our mutual customers, so rhipe's customers, it's really I was thinking of trying to describe rhipe in a sentence, and I came up with enabling the channel with frictionless subscription software distribution.
I'm thinking,
how's that?
Yeah, I can put that on a t-shirt. I'll put on a t-shirt and I'll sell it.
Yeah, so that really translates into rhipe is enabling us, like they're taking a lot of the friction away from that software licensing side of it, asset management side of it, optimisation for customers. If we've got any commercial queries, we solve them quickly. So that stuff is out the way, and we can just focus on the customer's needs. And I think that's quite powerful and translates through.
If I was to come up with one sentence for Parallo, it would be Parallo is ISV, and that's it. It's like, again, it goes back to that earlier statement around there's no dilution or there's no sort of wavering away from that value proposition. What I really, really like about you guys is that no ISV is too small. And the fact that you're able to work with any ISV, no matter if it's one person or 1,000 people, or whether they have one solution or 100 solutions. I think that's the part where, just the Kiwi nature of being able to sort of take a gamble and have a stab at something and have a go at a particular market. I think that's the exciting part, and watching you guys do that every day is exciting for us as well.
Oh, thanks. We had come to learn that ISVs, or SaaS companies as a lot of them would call themselves, are really clear in what their mission is, which is to really grow. So, their absolute purpose in life is to grow, add more users, sign up more people. So, what is very clear when we talk to all of our SaaS customers is that they are entirely focused on their product, and that anything underneath the product that they have to do is a distraction, because it's the product and the product's acceleration in terms of capability, feature, and so on. That's the thing that will differentiate them. That's the thing that will get more users signing up. And in SaaS land, a lot of these SaaS companies are running on funding, so to attract quality strategic investors, they need to show really significant what's called ARR growth, or annual recurring revenue growth. So anything they're doing that's taking their eyes off the ball, off the product, off their customers and prospects, that's slowing them down. So we've really tailored our service, and I think this is why we have the momentum, because we look after everything underneath the product. So think of not only the operational side of it and the licensing, but DevOps and development for the sort of interaction between the cloud platform and their app, architecture, governance, all that sort of thing, cost management and so on. And that really resonates because it frees them up to just drive the product forward. I think in terms of why Microsoft and why did we choose Microsoft, there's a couple of reasons for that. One is public cloud is the best place to run a SaaS application. I think the economies of scale, especially in Azure, the depth of security is mind-blowing. It's by far the most secure place to run a public-facing, high-volume app. If you leverage the architecture well, then the cost per customer just gets lunched. It's really low in a good multi-tenancy design. So that was, there's a whole lot of technical reasons why, but really I think the thing that has really struck out for me as a beacon is Microsoft's real change in the last sort of 5 to 6 years when Satya, the new CEO, came in and has really changed the focus of the business. So now you see that they have a very strong and compelling go-to-market strategic differentiator. So if an ISV is running on Microsoft Azure, then there are a whole number of avenues where Microsoft will actually get your product into market. So on a marketplace, or if you have an enterprise SaaS product, they'll even incentivize us as CSPs, but also the wider Microsoft sales team to put your product in front of their customers. So these things are not marketing gimmicks. These are actual tangible benefits, and as we know, a lot of ISVs, especially in the early days, certainly in our customer base, most of them are actually founded by a technical specialist. Whether you're an accountant or a IT person or whatever, you have a technical speciality and go, actually I could make a business out of that, so I'll spin up a SaaS company and off I go. So these people are not career salespeople typically, so any help to get to market is significantly beneficial. And we see that as that's a drive for quite a few of our customers moving off other platforms into Azure. It's that strategic benefit. Rhipe has identified our strength in terms of servicing the ISV sector. It's fabulous for us to be able to recognise a need in our customer base that we don't do, and reach into the Rhipe ecosystem of partners to then introduce them into our customers to look after those things. That power of focus and speciality, it works for us and for your other partners.
So if someone was to ask me why would I choose to work with Parallo as an ISV, I think the answer is pretty straightforward. Number one, Parallo does nothing but ISV. So I think we've covered off multiple times that there is no dilution in the value proposition. They only sort of eat, sleep and breathe ISVs. Secondly, their ability to actually not just focus in on the solution that an ISV has built, but also look around the surrounding ecosystem for that solution. I think that's critical, and helping the ISV to look beyond the actual solution that they built, and also be able to build that sort of roadmap looking forward. And I think the last part that really makes sense for an ISV, if they're looking to work with a partner, is really to find someone that would be able to take them beyond their local market and beyond their local neighborhood. And I think the depth of experience that Parallo has allows them to provide that capability to any ISV, whether big, small, that is looking for that reach ability. I think that's the part that that excites me about being able to recommend Parallo to any and all ISVs who are looking for that kind of partnership.
In terms of why would a partner want to work with Rhipe, I think it's multifaceted really. They've really been a fabulous organisation to work with, and we've worked with Rhipe for many years, pre-Tovia joining as well, for a variety of different software licensing requirements. But certainly in the Microsoft space, there's a real cultural alignment, I guess, between us moving quickly, working with dynamic businesses. Rhipe are aligned to that. They've got a really strong team both here in New Zealand and in Australia. And I guess they get this modern sort of paradigm, I guess, certainly around the cloud side of it, and I guess that commercial flexibility and just the way that they engage really facilitates success, I think, for both parties. In addition to that, there is a significant marketing engine and in-market presence, throughout Asia Pacific. And Parallo has some fairly lofty aspirations, so for us it was a real no-brainer, especially being highly focused on New Zealand and Australia at the moment, that we get a trans-Tasman partner to work with. And I think that applies for any Kiwi Microsoft partner looking to go further afield.